right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Addicted Hunting Podcast, episode number 5. Today we're going to be talking about waterfowl hunting. We got some special guests in the house tonight.
Bill Rivas, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Phil Rudat. Hey, how's it going?
Phil Rudat. He's been hanging out with us quite a bit on podcasts lately.
Yeah, I'm back in Washington. We're in Kodiak anymore.
It's great.
It's fun.
Cliff Salise here.
So, I'm not the biggest waterfowl hunter, if any of you guys might know that. I've done a little bit in my younger years, but we know that it's a big part of all you addicts' lifestyle out there, hunting waterfowl. So I wanted to bring in Bill and Phil and touch a little bit on
Was that set up that way? Bill and Phil?
Bill and Phil.
Yeah.
Works
that-
nice.
Yeah,
sounds
it
good.
goes good
rhymes
together.
pretty good.
We had to hunt together.
But we're gonna bring in Bill and Phil and talk about waterfowl. They're pretty well-rounded when it comes to waterfowl hunting, and hopefully we can give you guys some tips, and maybe you can learn something about
Waterfowl.
Yeah. Anyways,
Right on.
so Bill, have you been out this year waterfowl hunting?
So I went opening day, but with a lack of water this year, I haven't really been in any hurry to get back out there. So we're starting to get some rain now, and pretty much it's just a waiting game to get some more rain, some more sheet water. That's my bread and butter and what I really do best at. I'm not a big water guy by any means, so yeah, that's where I'm at.
So in earlier years, have you noticed that it's like a trend that early season is kind of slow because of lack of water in this state anyways?
Yeah, and usually it's a lot better towards the coast, better on the east side during the early season for whatever reason. I'm not too sure. Definitely the coast, obviously big water. That's where most of your birds are gonna be hanging out. But
Those corn-fed mallards on the east side.
yeah, then you get your mallards that are coming on the east side for whatever reason. They're just a few more birds over there than the west side for what I've noticed in my years of waterfowling.
Gotcha. And what about you, Phil?
I have not been hunting yet this year. In fact, I still need to buy my license. I just got back from Kodiak, so I'm still trying to get back in the swing of things. I've just been fishing mostly.
Yeah,
Going to see, like,
you
fishing
generally
every day.
hunt later in the year.
Yeah,
just
I usually
because
go
of
later.
You're a fishing guide, so you're gone for the first part of the year. Anyhow.
This is like my vacation time right now. I work nonstop for 5 months, so
Gotcha.
this is my vacation. I'm enjoying it.
So you're
I'm not in a
excited to
rush.
do some waterfowl then?
I am. I'm very excited to get back into it, and usually around Thanksgiving I'll buy my license.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's pretty much when it starts happening anyways, so makes sense.
Did you guys kill any birds opening weekend?
Ooh, man, that was a rough one. It was my worst opening day yet to date. So we got 2 geese and I lost a duck, and that was it. It was pretty crappy.
Don't they have like an early honker season here in Washington?
They do, and I opted out of it for the first year in many years this year, just because the bees. They're
yeah.
insane.
Dude, they were terrible
Fighting
this year.
the bees is it's
Dude, I was covered up in them when I got my elk this year. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they wanted nothing to do with me, but yeah, no, you're completely right. Like, they were everywhere.
I was fighting for birds from the bees. It was a battle.
So generally, in the early season, you're basically hunting local birds, right?
Early season, September they have an early goose season, so I focus on that and usually scout for your local birds. It seems like it, and I could be wrong. I'm no pro by any means, but it seems like they're the same birds that come from the coast over like Astoria area. Everybody sees them when they're out at Buoy 10, and then sure enough, nothing's here on the Columbia because I'm out here fishing the Columbia. And then all of a sudden they show up and it's like, whoa, there's a ton of early birds here. They're all big geese and they're pounding the cornfields, before the little cacklers get here.
So the geese tend to migrate sooner than the ducks.
Yeah, the big birds for whatever reason, and then they taper off, on the west side at least.
Gotcha.
For this time of year. So now we're just into the little birds, our cacklers, our Aleutians, stuff like that. So that's mainly what we're going to be looking at.
And for anybody that's out there looking to get into waterfowl hunting or hasn't hunted geese, make sure that you go out and you take your goose test. Is that what they call it? The
For the
Goose
west
identification test for Southwest Washington and Northeast Oregon.
Yeah, because you can hunt ducks without, with just your
Just
hunter
hunter
safety.
safety.
But you do have to take a special identification test.
Yeah, it's a 40-question test. It's multiple choice. They have a pamphlet on it. It's not that hard. If you read the pamphlet, it's pretty basic. Like, it's to the point. And
And I think the cutoff for that is like the Washougal River, like the mouth of it.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think you're right, because I know up just above that there's a certain island that guys hunt. Where they every once in a while they'll get a dusky or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, because when I was younger, we would go over the east, and I didn't have to have the goose identification code.
Yeah, it's the dusky. Like, for people that don't know, that's what we're talking about. It's this, I guess, bird that
Subspecies
it's
of Canadian
it's
goose.
losing
Exactly.
its like habitat up north.
Yep. Copper River Delta. There's 7 different subspecies of Canadian geese, and that is one that has not been doing so hot due to loss of
Just habitat.
wetlands. Yeah. So
What caused that? Wasn't that an earthquake that happened and it raised the ground level and they lost their nesting habitat?
I have no clue.
That's what I thought I read that.
I do
somewhere.
not remember.
not
It's been a
historians.
long time since I took that test. So
Have you ever killed a dusky?
you know, I don't know, Sean. Yeah, I have, unfortunately, and it happens at times, and that's why we need to, stay focused and watch the birds that are coming in, and that's the biggest thing as sportsmen, is to make sure we know what we're shooting before we shoot it, instead of making that mistake.
The reason why I asked you that is because I did shoot a dusky once when I was younger, and I think I was probably 13 or 14, and before my uncle could even yell dusky, I had already pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
And
You were hot on it.
I learned that lesson at a young age, and I'm going to make sure that never happens again.
Absolutely.
But
We all get fired up when birds are coming in and on the deck in your face, and it's pretty easy to grab the gun and start pulling the trigger. So
Absolutely. So, when it comes to scouting for waterfowl, ducks, and geese, you got any pointers for these guys that you could?
It completely depends on where you're hunting. Where I hunt mainly, I mainly look at water levels. Don't get me wrong, I'm also looking for birds, but water levels, mainly what I'm looking at, and birds will come in time. I like to hunt sheetwater, like I said earlier, targeting ducks. When I'm targeting geese, I'll obviously like just more of just a dry field.
Some people don't know what
So-
sheetwater is. You might explain that?
Sheetwater is, kick around water. It's, ankle deep to, your thigh, or I'm sorry, your calf. So that's sheetwater. It's a lot easier for birds to feed and, mill around and do their thing. So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
and it's usually, sheetwater is obviously more in an open area in a field. So, birds feel a lot more comfort in those areas rather than in timber areas. And don't get me wrong, they go there too, but it takes a lot more comfort for that.
So are you hunting, like when you're hunting the sheetwater, are you using like more of a layout blind, or what are you using like as far as equipment goes?
And it totally depends on just the area. When I scout the area, if I got a little bit of brush and stuff like that, I can grab some brush from another spot and I can use a layout. And if that's the best opportunity for me, that's great. But if I'd rather not lay on my back, I feel like I'm turning into an old man, but I don't like
Casket.
laying on my back anymore. I want to sit in a nice box blind, not get rained on, and be an old man about it. But
It's kind of fun building your own blinds, huh? You get creative with it.
it
You
is.
kind
It
of build
is.
up a big old structure. Sean and I back in the day used to do it all the time.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of duck hunting. It was
Yeah.
just trying to build.
We would spend
something.
an hour, maybe 2 hours every early morning just brushing up all these sticks and making like this mansion.
Oh yeah.
Not really a mansion, but they were pretty good.
Well, we had to build good blinds because me and Phil would stay in the blind all day long. We'd stay in the blind from daylight till dark when we were younger. Yeah,
that's a long hunt.
That's some commitment right there.
Yeah.
We pulled some long days out there.
Oh yeah.
But his mom always packed us a bunch of good food, and we were taken care of. So
that's good.
We didn't mind. We didn't have anything better to do.
I always forget the food, and then I'm shaking when I walk out with my decoy bag on my back, and hunted way too long just for an extra couple birds. And
Those decoy bags are heavy too.
Yeah,
they can
get
be.
heavy.
That's why there's a lot of different little tricks of the trade to, drill out your keels, get the sand out, make them water keels, stuff like that to really help take the weight off your back.
That's an awesome tip right there. Like
Yeah.
I would have never thought of that. Like,
Yep. The only problem with that is you can't throw your decoys. Like pitch them 15 yards. You look over at it sitting on its side because it doesn't have the weight, but saves your back for sure.
Right.
That's all that matters to me.
How many deeks do you usually carry out for ducks or geese or whatever?
In my bag, because I'm running GHG pro grade mallards. That's all I run. I know there's a lot of mixed ducks in this area. We got widgeon, pintail, teal, mallards, all kinds of stuff. And then your divers, of course, too. But I just run the straight mallards. It doesn't seem to matter. I can pull anything into that. Yeah, woodies. I mean, if you get in the random woody spot, I have seen guys do better with just wood duck decoys. But for the most part, you just pull anything with a mallard.
They're at least pretty to look at.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, that big bright green head, I mean, I want to come running in when I see one.
Oh, yeah.
Mallards seem to be the most social duck out there. They hang out with everybody, it seems like.
They're all social. They're all social little butterflies. I love them all.
So let's talk your tactics real quick. Like, let's talk like right now and then throughout the season. So let's start now and talk about, let's say your spread to all the way down to like your calling. Like, do you call a lot in the early season, or are the birds more? I mean, I know they're more call shy, at least to me, and maybe I just suck at calling, which I wouldn't doubt. But throughout the season, they've been called at so much. Towards the end, I've noticed that they get a little more call shy. But like, what are your tactics? What do you use like from start of the season till the end?
It totally depends on just body language from the birds. Talk to them, see what they say in body language. They'll respond immediately. So if they turn away, do that a couple times. Like, probably want to put the call down a little bit. Maybe jump on the whistle, and then sometimes they'll start reacting to the whistle better if you do that. Right now, we got a lot of the young birds in the area coming down from Canada, and that makes it a lot easier. You yell at them pretty good, and they'll react. So I'm usually hammering down on birds right now, in singles and doubles, triples, 4-packs, stuff like that. When I get into some bigger flocks of birds, I slow down on the calling. But for right now, I'm pretty much hammering down on them and getting talking as much. Yeah,
that's awesome.
As much as I can.
So, from early season to late season, are you being more aggressive with your decoys? Meaning, like, are you putting more out or less out, or do you always put out the same amount of decoys?
And guys have always said that. They're like, "Oh, end of season, all you need is 6 decoys," and I just no, I've never like, "Oh, you just need 2. You just need a spinner." Like one of the pull spin wings. No, I don't know. I always run the same spread, and I do just fine with it.
Gotcha.
So I don't get, if maybe these guys are hunting refuges. I don't know. Maybe it's where I'm hunting, but I don't feel that. I see the pressure, but I still run the same 32 decoys. 2 pods, as you asked earlier about like what kind of decoy spread.
Yeah.
I usually do half on one side with half on the other with a 30-yard gap.
That gives them a place to land.
Yeah, and I've tried J hooks. I've tried all the different spreads, V's, stuff like that. Like, oh, they'll work right over here because the wind's like this, and no.
Does the wind really like? I mean, I know
the wind does help.
I was going to ask about that, but how much wind do you need for like? Because everybody's like, oh, you gotta have them landing with the wind in their face. They won't land at the wind at their back. Well, any wild animal I've heard people say they don't do that.
Unless they really want in there.
Yeah, I mean,
and then they'll prove you wrong.
They will prove you wrong every time. Go hunt blacktail.
Right.
Well, for you guys that are listening, Bill kind of simplified it for you guys. If you guys are wondering how to set up your decoys, I mean, he just told you right there. He sticks with one decoy set when it comes to waterfowl. 2 groups, 30 yards apart, and maybe try that out and see.
See how it works for you.
Yeah, and comment below and let me know. You guys try that out. Comment and let us know if it produced.
And we'll give Bill crap if it doesn't.
Yeah. Whatever. I don't care.
How far of a gap do you spread out in front of you there?
Like how far are my decoys from the bank, or from me to the bank?
Yeah, or from you to like the edge of the decoys. Because what I do, I kind of do something very similar to you. Mm-hmm. But I'll use that as like a shooting range. I'll throw it out to 30 yards so I can have an idea when ducks come in. I can kind of compare them to where my decoys are.
Oh, I see what you're saying. See, I just if I feel like I can hit it, I shoot.
Okay.
It's kind of one of those things.
I went through a phase where I was really bad at trying
poking?
to judge like how far they are or how close they are.
Yeah,
Well, obviously they're close when they're close, but
I shoot a goose,
antsy and you want to
goose full
shoot
choke,
him.
so it's pretty tight. And I'm
Yeah.
shooting 3.5, so it's like.
So you're reaching out there to 80, 90.
Reach. No, I don't get crazy with it, but every once in a while, and guys get mad. There's sky busters and stuff, and don't get me wrong, I'm no sky buster. I don't do that. I'm not going to ruin somebody's hunt when they're working birds, and flock of geese comes over 100 yards, like crack at them. But yeah, it's I'll poke here and there. So
Well, you got to keep it interesting every once in a while, especially
I lost that duck on opening day, but I dropped it. Just didn't
So
have
do
a
you
dog.
run a dog or no?
I used to have a dog. I lost my dog, and that's where I'm at
That's tough.
now. Yeah,
That's tough.
yeah.
That's like a hunting partner. I mean, if anybody knows, like a duck hunter and their dog,
Absolutely.
that's
Had a great bond with my last dog.
yeah. So sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, thanks.
That's tough. That's a big reason why I quit duck hunting is because I lost my last, dog, and I put so much time and effort into him, and
Yeah.
I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I have another lab, but I just couldn't bring myself to go through all that work again. And
Well, and the money for training. I mean, I spent $3,000 on training on my last dog too, so it's
not cheap.
Yeah, it's not cheap if you want to have a good
But it
dog
is an
that doesn't
investment,
break,
like
and-
at the end of the
exactly.
day. Like, I mean, having a good dog. I remember when we first started duck hunting below my buddy's house, and dude, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. Like, dude, we lost a lot of birds because it was heavy grass. We'd hit these birds, and then they would just dive right into it. You know exactly where they landed, but you couldn't find them. We both got dogs. Dude, changed the game like nobody's business. Mine was a pain in the ass. He would find the birds. He wouldn't grab them, but he would find them. My buddy's dog, like, he was like a bull in a china shop. Like, dude, if the bird dropped and it went in somewhere, like, it sounded like a war going on, like in the brush. But that dog would come out with those birds every single time. Nice. And I mean, it does. Like, so for guys that don't have dogs, like,
Yeah.
definitely think about it. And like, if you're worried about like they're going to be a pain in the ass. Like, everybody, it's not going to be like, oh, they're going to go out, they're going to sit there. They get antsy, they get birdie, but it's also nice to have them too. Like, some of those days where if you're not seeing a lot of birds, watch your dog.
Yeah.
Like, they will see the birds before you do.
yeah,
And that's
It's
That's
amazing.
a great thing that you just said right there. Watch your dog and trust your dog.
Yeah.
Those are huge things. I've multiple times walked by my dog and been like, no, here, and just being an idiot. And sure enough, my dog grabs the bird.
Yeah.
And then guess who looks like the idiot then?
Right.
Sorry, dude.
their senses are far more keen than ours.
Far more. Trust your dog. Watch your eyes.
Absolutely. So when it comes to duck hunting, and say you've scouted an area and the wind is blowing the complete exact opposite direction as it normally blows, and you have this like perfect area where you want to set up a blind, are you willing to like move where you would your blind location, or are you just gonna stick with like the same area that you had scouted out?
Biggest thing for me is, I mean, again, just going back to watching the birds, watching body language, seeing what they're doing, seeing what they're working, where they're coming from, and what they're reacting to and what they're not. So if they're reacting to, a big group that's just posted up on the water and, it's on private land or something, splashing around, then, well, you need to really pack out some serious decoys. And I've done some 120 decoy spreads, and it has made a difference. And it's a pain in the butt, but it's effective at times. So you just got to
Worth
know
it
when
in
to
the
do
end,
it.
huh?
Yeah. It's trial and error, that's all it is. So you just got to go out there and try and do your best and see what you can do.
So I've always wondered this because, I grew up hunting with Phil, duck hunting, and we always had these old garbage hand-me-down decoys.
Oh, come on. They weren't that big of a garbage.
They paint up just nice.
I mean, no, they were great, and I was super thankful. Like my uncle,
I
hand
was
me
hunting
down
with you. You usually shoot decoys, so I don't bring my best ones out. That's what it is.
I get trigger happy,
Oh, I know this.
But do you think it matters how like vibrant and bright your colors are on the decoys?
Yeah, and that's that's one of those things that I've talked about with buddies too. It's like, they put when you buy decoys and you
UV
buy a
blockers.
pack, it's like how many Drake mallards are in there? Like 4 and then like 2 hens. So it's like, when have you ever seen on the side of the road when you drive by 4 drakes and 2 hens? It's
Yeah.
like, it's usually majority brown birds, your hens and stuff like that, and mixed in mixed bag, So I try to keep mine darker. Until later in the season when you start getting your pintails and stuff like that, your flashier birds that are more plumed, and your older birds, because it seems like you get a lot of younger birds coming earlier in the season. So that's when I start transitioning to, I throw 18 pintails into my spread as well.
Okay, gotcha.
And we're back to a 2 pintail limit this year, which is awesome, by the way, for anybody who didn't possibly know. But last year was 1 pintail. They screwed the pooch on that one, realized they had a lot more pintails than they had, and now they're reopening it to 2 pintails this year. So that's awesome.
That's pretty cool. And over the last couple of years, I have seen a lot more pintails.
God, we hunted a spot. That's all there was, man. Flying down this canal, it was just solid. It was like, oh, can't shoot that one. Can't shoot that one. Can't shoot.
They're
that
my
one.
favorite duck.
Oh, they're beautiful. Well,
I think they're beautiful.
I got pintail and a woody, like both of those birds. And what are they? The ghost widgeon or something like that? Or there's one. It's got like a
widgeon?
dude. This thing has like just a. You guys keep talking. I'll Google it.
It's you're Asian.
They're just beautiful.
Was it a hybrid?
No, it's God, somebody shot one. Somebody that I know.
I can't think of
You guys just go ahead and I'll look this here up.
So for any of these guys out here that are maybe looking to get into waterfowl hunting, they've never done it before, where would you point them to start out for a location? I know there's multiple public wetlands around here that you can sign in every morning and they'll hook you up with a blind. They pretty much simplify your duck hunt for you.
They do, and they there's some great opportunity there as well. Just to name one off the top of my head, because I do it every year, I put in for Ridgefield Wildlife Refuge. It's a great little refuge. They do a lot to keep it nice. There's a really nice porta potty at every parking spot, which is awesome if you got to run back to the truck, for emergency. And they're always really clean and everything like that too. So
luxury duck hunting?
Oh yeah, pretty much. It's I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm brain farting so bad right now. That's a great opportunity right there, and it's something that you have to put in a little bit early for. So it's August deal. I was fortunate enough to get a number 3 pick on December 27th, so count on seeing me then. But yeah, and those guys that don't show up, I got a 7 pick too. I'm not showing up for that. So, maybe that 8 pick, it turns into a 5. So, it's a great opportunity. Get on Ridgefield Wildlife Refuge's website and put in for those things. Sauvie Island across the river in Oregon, that's a great one as well. You got all kinds of stuff on the east side. Umatilla is a great one. Just a few off the top of my head. So,
gotcha. And I remember when I was younger duck hunting, I don't know if they still have this option, but you were able to show up in the mornings at Richfield, and if someone didn't show, you could possibly get a blind.
Yep.
Yeah, standby.
Yeah.
So, say, those guys with res picks, only 7 of them show up. Well, there's 21 blinds on Ridgefield, something like that. I'm not sure. So there's still a lot of opportunity there for, other guys to squeeze in and get on a good hunt. And I'll tell you what, I've gotten the last pick multiple times. Last guy standing there, and he's like, well, I guess I don't need to call off names anymore. It's just you, man. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll take that one. And I go out and I limit out, and I'm the first one back. So, there's opportunity there.
That's awesome. I remember one time me and Phil were going to hunt standby, and we woke up real early. We wanted to get there so we could hopefully get a blind. And me, being the pleasant person that I am, forgot my duck stamp.
Oh, I've done that too. That was embarrassing.
Yeah. What did we do that day?
I think we went and tried to find a spot on some other public wetland somewhere close by.
Yeah, I kind of remember that, but I forgot what we did or what ended up happening.
Yeah, you were pretty upset with me.
Yeah.
We had an experience down there to where it's like you have to have make sure everybody in your party is signed up and in as well at the same time.
Yes. So
I got called, and my buddy who was with me, I didn't know, nobody told me, and I kid you not, I'm pretty good when it comes to hunters and everything, but I do have some issues with some duck hunters, because when somebody doesn't know, this is their first time down there.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys sign up, because if you go and you grab your buddy and get ready to head to your blind and they go, "Who are you?" and they don't let you in, and everybody starts laughing, you're laughing at a guy that's got a weapon. I mean, like, but no, I mean, in all seriousness, like it was like this little mistake and we can't go out there. So just kind of be forewarned. Make sure, like, if you don't know, ask. Like that's the best thing I can say. I don't know how it is at other refuges with that. But just make sure you ask, make sure everything's filled out, make sure you have your duck stamp, make sure you have everything. Cause that kind of pissed me off. Cause I didn't know, like, dude, I got called. I was stoked. Like I felt like I won the lottery, we had this all planned out. Otherwise we were going to go somewhere else. And by the time we had picked up from there and we left, like it was daylight before we got to where we wanted to be. So like there went our morning hunt right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for all of our listeners out there that are from other states, we're talking about here locally in the Pacific Northwest, but do your research, call your local fish and wildlife, departments. They'll point you in the right direction. I haven't waterfowl hunted. The only other state besides Washington I've waterfowl hunted was Montana, but there was, there was
awesome
opportunity
Central
everywhere.
Flyway.
There, yeah. So yeah, make some phone calls, call your local biologists. Like they'll point you in the right direction, hopefully find a good chunk of public wetland that you can hunt.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think doing your research is the number one key to success.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, it's 2018. Come on. You can find anything on the internet.
Dude,
now. Like,
yeah, that's
just
no
go
it's all
look.
media.
Guys are there.
Yeah.
Like they talk. They can't help it. Instant gratification pictures, all kinds of stuff. Look for, there's so often I see guys post stuff and it's instant gratification pictures. And, it's like, I know exactly where you are. Thanks, bud. Like, just got their scouting report.
Yeah.
So
I'll be on the X tomorrow. Thank you.
And Phil, have you used Onyx Maps for waterfowl hunting at all?
I have actually, just to see where property boundaries are and where state property is. It's really useful, especially when you're out exploring different waters.
Yeah, I didn't know how, if it would be very useful to a waterfowl hunter, but I mean, if you think about it,
Even for fishing, it's really useful.
big time.
Yeah.
Like he said, call a biologist. They know everything about that river and that hatchery and what's going on. And I mean, why not?
It's great to know where properties are, and you don't want to totally be on somebody's property and not know and get yelled at.
And Onyx Maps is a great one too, even for little stuff like that. I mean, it's not big game stuff. Don't get me wrong, but it keeps you off somebody's property and doesn't get you in trouble. So
well, yeah, it'll show wildlife areas. It'll show all that stuff. I mean, that's what's nice about it. I mean, I've said it so many times. Like I ask people, I'm like, they'll ask me where I'm hunting. I'm like, dude, there's so many places you can go. Like you don't have Onyx Maps? They're like, what's that? I'm like, dude, you are not a hunter. Maps. You are not a hunter if you do not have Onyx Maps. Like, I'm dead serious. Like, you don't take it serious. Like, there's so many areas that are
just
public.
Sit there and explore it a little bit.
Yeah. And I mean, it also gives you dude, call a landowner. I'll tell you what, I will do a video. I will call a random landowner and I will get on their property. Whether it be coyote hunting, deer hunting, elk hunting, you name it. Well, not elk hunting for me.
That's a good one.
But
can I come with you?
Yeah, we'll make a whole video about it.
Well, and that is cool thing about Onyx Maps is that they list the landowner's name on there. So if you are looking for private access, you can usually look through a phone book and get a phone number and call them up and do it the right way.
And what's the worst thing they say? No. I mean, dude, I got cussed out by this one farmer over on the east side one time, and I just told him I wanted to shoot coyotes.
And everybody's different. There's 1 out of 2 people might say yes, or 1 out of 10 people might say yes, but you got to try.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had great success with knocking on doors, honestly. I don't know if they don't care or if they're just like, oh, he seems like an all right guy. Like, sure. I get on some good properties, honestly. And there's a lot here on the west side of the state that nobody really takes advantage of. I mean, especially goose hunting. I don't see a lot of your full body goose guys out there on this side of the state. It's something different. I don't know why.
So when it comes to public, private, what percentage of your hunting is on public and what percentage of your hunting is on private?
I hunt mostly private anymore. That's just about all I hunt. But it's one of those things too, especially for you guys. You're big game guys. When you hunt on public land and you get a nice bull or something, that
the gratification is something
absolutely
different.
it's so much better.
Yeah.
It's, and don't get me wrong, it's great. I shot a collar on private land a couple of years ago, but had I shot it on public, that would have been just a little cooler.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's something a little better.
Well, and we take this public land for granted.
For sure.
We do.
We all pay taxes. This is all our land, but we need to utilize it and protect it for sure, because one day it might all be private if we don't keep fighting the good fight.
Yeah, especially for us waterfowl guys over here. I mean, this area is growing so much. My field that I had before is gone now, and that was awesome. We dug a pit out there by hand. It was flip lids. It was sick. It was super sick, and it's all gone now. School there.
I was gonna say now it's either houses or schools or something. Yeah, no, it's crazy like how fast that stuff's disappearing, and like.
I think I shed a tear last time I drove by.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it because you probably have so many memories on that piece of property, and it's like it's gone. Like it's
so
not
many
coming
hours
back.
Invested. I had a lawnmower out there. I was mowing a field with a lawnmower, like just a little push one. Like, it was bad. So
yeah, I have so many hunting spots that I grew up hunting on that I can't hunt anymore, and it just kills me. Just even driving by them, because at one point it used to be public land, or we used to be able to hunt it, and
that's another thing, and that's why I always tried to take care of my landowners as well. They're taking care of me, letting me hunt on their property for free. So I always took them fish and stuff.
I was gonna say,
I always
fish or
did.
game.
Everybody
or
loves
something.
fish.
I always took Bill fish, and that was a last guy that owned the land that I hunted on, and great guy, just an amazing guy, dairy farmer, last of his generation, and yeah, it was cool.
And for all you guys that are listening out there, if you love the public lands that we have to hunt on and access, make sure you guys support those businesses out there that are fighting to keep our public lands public, like BHA, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers Association. Those guys are literally fighting this hand and foot, trying to make sure that in all the states, they're fighting hand and foot to keep these lands public, and it's really important to me. I support them as much as I can every year. Mm-hmm. And it's just a great organization. So if you guys haven't heard of them, look them up. They're great. All right. Well, I wanted to talk to you. We kind of touched on early season duck hunting and geese hunting. Coming into this later season, what are you looking for? Weather? Is that?
Well, I'm hoping we get quite a bit of rain, but obviously not too much. I mean, we're almost kind of like steelhead fishermen. We're out there like, oh, give us rain. And then it's like, oh, everything's blown out.
Yeah.
And there's way too much water and birds are spread out everywhere. We need more birds now. So hoping for that perfect amount of rain, hopefully, birds work into this area, as usual. And hopefully I don't have to drive too far from home to find them. So, I mean, again, like I've said, there's lots of opportunity out there. I know where I can go and find birds. Do I want to go and drive an hour and a half to shoot 7? Not anymore at this age, but I will every once in a while. I'm lazy anymore. I'm just going to admit it, like totally. I've been spoiled.
Phil seems to travel quite a bit for duck hunting. I've seen him go quite a ways.
It is fun. And
yeah. To do a weekend trip with the boys, man, that's a damn good time.
For sure.
Well, and every year Phil keeps asking me, when are you going to come duck hunting with me? I'm usually, deer hunting or elk hunting. I'm always busy, but this year I'm going to do it. I'm going to go get my stamp. I'm going to go bird hunting.
Why are you not busy, Sean?
Well, because I'm almost tagged out.
Nothing to complain about.
But there's always tags. You always got family members that need help.
That's
you got to,
right.
help them out. But I'm going to make some time for waterfowl hunting.
Sean, I'm your family member. I need help shooting ducks.
You are. And I really want to go.
I thought it was Phil and Bill, man.
It's
Like,
the
what
Phil and
happened?
Bill
Bill and Sean.
Yeah.
the Phil and Bill show.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I want to hunt with Susie.
Yeah, she's been a great dog.
What's the perfect day, the perfect scenario, perfect storm, everything? Like, what does it have to be for you to have that, like when you're looking at a weather pattern, like what are you looking for, like that you're like, dude, I know that's going to be like Saturday or whatever is the perfect day.
And it goes back to everybody wants a stormy, windy, rainy day, sideways. And I have my best days under blue sky, sun.
Seriously?
Where I hunt, like, I don't know. Like, I look back at all my limit pictures, and like, I've had good days on windy days, but I'll tell you what, there's calm days when they're just wanting to be in a certain spot, and I know where it's
You're
at.
on the X. So
it's on,
that's
yeah.
what it
When
is,
you're on the X, it doesn't matter. So
saying that, do you ever notice a difference, like after a really stormy day?
I notice it'll push birds in or push birds out, definitely. So that's the biggest thing that I notice. So yeah, it can be good or bad. It's just seeing how much water's in the area, how many birds are in the area. It's scouting constantly. Scout. I mean, you think it's just bird hunting, like, yeah, I got my Wonder Bread and I'm ready to go. But no, it's not how it goes. It's not how it goes at
What
all.
about snow? Does snow help at all?
Snow? I'm sure there's a lot of guys on the east side, that smash in the snow. But over on the west side, when it snows, I don't think I've had a limit hunt in the snow.
Really?
No. I don't think I have.
Dude, I've had a day of a limit. Like, that's my best duck hunting day.
One day.
Dude,
I love it when it snows. My fastest limit was in the snow.
Really?
In like a hard freeze. Everything was frozen.
West side or east side?
West side, local.
Okay. Nice.
And when these birds came in, when I was, early in the morning before shooting light, these birds came in and they were just huddled on one little spot. I had like the only clear spot in all these sloughs.
That's the biggest thing.
Oh my goodness, they're all just packed together, and the shooting light came across.
And that brings me to a really good point too. Is if it is snowy out and everything's freezing, and you get into a month and it's just straight freezes every night, look for that couple days of rain or something for a thaw. Go find open water, because that's where your birds are going to be. They're not going to be on sheet water anymore. I have to leave my bread and butter, and I have to go find something new. And that has helped me dramatically. Guys go out and they break ice and stuff. And they spend hours breaking ice and making a big hole, and then it freezes. Yeah. So
I was curious. We do have some freak ice storms here in the Northwest, and I was curious if you ever had to go out and break ice to set
many
decoys.
times. Ripped waders because of ice. all kinds of stuff. You do all kinds of weird stuff to push ice under other ice. It's a pain. It's cold.
And with ice too, like I'm gonna hit on this, and this is just a safety thing. Like, you guys, you can think that you've hunted an area like years and years. Oh, I know this slough or blah blah blah. Don't be stupid and walk out on that ice.
Yeah, don't.
I'll raise the flag on that one, because I got stupid one day, and I was very, very fortunate. Like, when I went through, it was at least on the edge, but I mean, I never touched bottom. And I mean, if I was out in the middle, done, game over. Like, there's nothing you can do. So, like, just hitting on that, you guys, be super careful. Don't think that, okay, yeah, the ice is good, we're fine. Just be smart about it.
Absolutely. Safety is the number one thing out there when it comes to all hunting, and making sure that we make it back to our families so we can, spend time with them and do it the next day. Mm-hmm. Another thing I want to touch on is bird identification. Like, when birds are coming into your decoy spread, because there's certain limits on certain birds. Is there any pointers you can give to bird identification when they're coming in? Yeah,
and just know your birds. You go out and scout and watch these birds work around, and watch their body language and the way they're flying. Oftentimes you can find you'll see that a pintails fly a lot different than mallards, and teal fly different than them, and widgeon fly different.
They sound
than
like
them.
little jet fighters.
They are. They're all different little jets, and you just kind of got to watch them and see how their body language works, and you can pick them out from a mile away and be like, "Oh, those are teal. How do you know? They're not teal." Well, watch, they're coming right this way. Sure
at
enough,
90
those
miles
are teal.
an hour, yeah.
Duh.
Well, and what's cool is you can go to local wetland wildlife refuges and watch birds all year long. So if you're worried about shooting the wrong duck, go watch birds for a day.
I've learned more scouting birds ever than I have out in the field. I mean, but at the same time, I've learned a ton out in the field too. I mean, it goes hand in hand, actually. Now that I'm saying it, you learn so much out there just watching them do their thing.
Absolutely. So, do you have any funny duck hunting stories you could share with our listeners?
Oh man. I honestly, I can't even think of like a great one to.
Your dog's ever been pecked out by a goose?
No, my dog's never been scared by. You know what? I've seen so many buddies come out for their first trip though, and they shoot a bird, and I'm like, okay, go get it. You know, like I'm not gonna go get your bird, and they go to grab it, and you know, it sounds bad, but you know, it's still kind of moving around a little bit, kicking. It's done, and they go to grab it, and they're scared of it, and it's like, dude, come on, grab the duck. It's not gonna hurt you. Like,
I convinced Sean to do a spot and stock on a cormorant one time.
Yeah.
Thinking it was a pintail.
my buddy found a banded cormorant at the launch ramp once.
Nice.
That was pretty cool.
Phil liked to play jokes on me when I was duck hunting.
Oh yeah.
The amateur that I was, professional duck hunter Phil. One time I shot a bird, and this was before we had dogs or anything, and I shoot a bird, and Phil had to go all the way around the slough to the other side to get this bird. And he starts freaking out. He's like, yeah, you just shot your first banded bird. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm like, that's so cool because I've always wanted to shoot one, you know?
Yeah.
And I was just like on cloud nine, just like super stoked. And
Didn't I tackle that bird?
Oh, yeah. You did have to tackle that bird. But, yeah.
Bands are always a plus. I love seeing a band. A little bling's awesome.
Yeah. You were so happy. You about punched me in the face when it wasn't banded.
That was so sick.
Oh, you lied to him?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's terrible. Have you ever got a band, Sean? Mm-mm. Really? I say that only because I got one.
You got one?
That's all I got.
Phil, what do you got?
I shot it on a mallard, and it was actually here local. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so stoked because you know they're on the band. Like you can get the information from them.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my god, where's this bird from? Like I'm super stoked about it. Savi's Island. Like, oh, that one came a long way across the river, you know, so not much of a story behind it. I was like, that sucks.
Well, I'll tell you this. Out of my 11, they're all local other than a Fairbanks, Alaska mallard, Drake mallard.
That's awesome.
And then I have a, where was that up in Alaska? Oh, I can't even think about it. But it was way past Fairbanks. We'll just say that. It was somewhere crazy. So that was really cool. That was a colored dusky. So that was a cool one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
all
awesome.
mine were Washington birds.
Yeah.
There's actually a Savi Island in Washington somewhere.
Is it really?
That's what the certificate said.
Oh, mine said Oregon.
And I tried looking it up, and I couldn't find a Savi Island anywhere in Washington. But
Yeah.
I'm assuming Puget Sound or some. I don't know.
My colored goose was Scappoose. So, but it had migrated for 3 years before I shot it. So, I mean, that's kind of cool too.
Yeah, that is
cool. That dusky was Dalton, Alaska. Look that up. That's right on the edge up there.
That's super cool.
Do you know where Dalton is, Phil?
No. Okay. Is it like way up north?
I think it's up by the Kenai Peninsula, like up there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, and it's cool. You get to figure out the age of the bird.
Yeah, that bird was 9. Man, the band is so worn around it too. It's super cool.
Imagine how many decoy spreads that thing flew in and out of in its lifetime.
I can't imagine too many guys would pass on a collared dusky because I didn't. So,
and with the duskies, you're allowed one a year and then you're done, correct?
Exactly. At that time, it was one a year. So, obviously, there's none allowed now at any point. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I remember back when I was duck hunting years ago, you're allowed one and then you're done.
Yep, one and done, and they just take your season or your tag for the year, and then you'd have to retake the test next year. But
is there a limit on geese, like a yearly limit on geese?
No.
Okay.
No. Take as many as you want.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. It's been a few years since I've been in the game.
We get 4 cacklers, and I mean, I think it was 1980. We had fewer than 25,000 wintering in this area, and I'll tell you what, it's a lot more than 25,000 now.
Yeah, there's a lot of geese.
It is insane how many cacklers we have now.
Yeah.
So, that's good.
It's super good. It's exciting, and that's why I don't understand why a lot of guys don't target them as much. You know, they're all chasing ducks and stuff. This lack of water, I should have done the same thing and didn't even think about it. Should have been out in the field chasing geese instead of trying to chase ducks. So,
yeah. Awesome. So, Bill and Phil, is there any solid advice you guys could give to a beginning duck hunter that's never duck hunted before but is looking to get into the sport?
Get good gear. I bought how many duck calls that were just, I mean, $20, $25 duck calls. I probably spent, I don't know, $500 on those crappy little things, and just go buy a good one, you know, and play around, figure out what works for you. I'll tell you, you know, most of your beginning duck callers will want a double reed. It's a lot easier to blow. It's not as loud and raspy. It's just a lot easier for a beginner to get started on.
And practice all the time.
Practice
when you're just driving around from going to work and
countless
just blowing
hours
that
in the
call
garage.
and getting good at it.
Yeah.
And learn how to when to use it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When go out and listen to birds, you know.
Yeah, that's what I used to do in Richfield Wildlife Refuge. Just drive that nature loop.
I drive it all the time.
I'll just sit there and listen to
fun.
them. You hear all kinds of crazy sounds coming out of those birds.
You do.
And you try to match them. I'll bring a duck call with me and try to match them. And
Yeah, my little experience from duck hunting, good gear is definitely a game changer, you know, especially on those cold, rainy days, you know, having waterproof gear, good waders that don't leak, you know.
Making sure your feet don't get cold.
Yeah, as soon as you get wet, your whole day just got ruined.
Oh, yeah.
So that's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening.
well, before we wrap it up, what do we all prefer eating? Eating is geese or ducks?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, I love duck.
Neither for Bill here.
Neither? What do you do with all?
Pepperoni.
I was just gonna
right.
say that. Yeah, that's
it's
what we did with it.
terrible,
Yeah.
man. It is the gamiest stuff. I grew up with my dad in the outdoor industry quite a bit, and you know, I ate everything from caribou, bear, you know, all of it, moose, and I am just burnt out. And I'll tell you what, there's nothing worse than duck on top of that stuff. Duck and goose is not good to me.
I really enjoy
guys like
baked goose.
Really?
Yeah.
Skin on or?
No, skin off. Or no, yeah, skin on.
Okay.
Last goose
That
I
sucks.
killed in Montana, which was a while ago, but we just salt and peppered it and baked it, and it was actually really good.
You know, and I've heard, I've popped them open too many times and smelt some different smells, and I'm just, I don't know.
Just over it, huh?
I am.
Hey,
man.
pepperoni's
I'm
great.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah, you
as
can't go
hardcore.
wrong. You can throw a bunch of
Pepperoni's
spices and stuff
awesome.
in it.
It's
Yeah.
great boat food, you know. Oh, here, guys, pepperoni. Who doesn't like pepperoni?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of my buddies that's what they do with all their birds at the end of the year. Do they just take them in and
Yeah.
have it all made into pepperoni?
I've tried a bunch of different butcher shops too, and found the one for me.
Have you ever made summer sausage out of it?
I haven't, and I don't see why it wouldn't be bad, honestly.
Yeah, it'd probably be really good.
Yeah.
Because they can hide the flavor.
Yeah, exactly. You throw enough spices in there, it's decent.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. I hope you guys picked up some good tips. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Comment below. Let us know what you guys think of this podcast. Let us know what you guys would like to listen to in the future or have us touch on. We'll have lots of more guests in here talking about all things hunting. So thanks for listening. See you out there.
See ya.
See you guys.
Peace.